So in this video, I'll be discussing my test revisions and the problems I incorrect or I uh, did incorrectly. So which behaves as an ideal gas. So pretty much an ideal gas is a gas that abides by the gas laws. So one of the gas laws is Charles's law, which pretty much states that temperature and pressure is proportional to each other. So if one of these was an ideal gas, which one of them is, it would need to be straight because they're directly proportional. So the only straight line here is gas D. So that's the answer. Red mercury oxide decomposes at high temperature to form mercury, metal, and oxygen gas. If 3.5 moles of HCl decomposes to form 1.54 moles of oxygen and 618 grams of H2. What is the percent yield? So pretty much what you would do is you would divide O2 over HCO, then you multiply that by 3.55 right here. And you get 1.775. And then what you would do is, since we already know that's 1.54, you would divide 1.54 over 1.775, and then you would multiply that by 100 because you're trying to get the percent. So you would end up with 86.8, and that's the answer right here, D. A 25-gram sample of an unknown hydrocarbon is composed of 12.6 grams carbon, 2.027 grams hydrogen, and 10.81 grams oxygen. If its molecular weight is 148 moles, what is the molecular formula of that compound? So pretty much what we would do is we would just divide um, the figures here. So 12.16 you divide by its moles, and then you get 1. And then you would pretty much just do that for carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So you would get 1.01, or not, this would pretty much just be 1, 2, and 67, which is pretty much just 2/3. And then if you notice, it's actually not on here, so you would multiply this by 2, and then you would get this, because this is the empirical formula, and the empirical formula derives from the molecular formula. So this, if you multiply the subscripts by a certain amount, it should end up like this, assuming that they have the same empirical formula, which what they do. So the answer would be B. Oh, shoot. Let's see. Okay, so a system reaches chemical equilibrium when the concentration of reactants in the system is equal to the concentration of products, and this is because, as you can probably assume from the word equilibrium, it has something to do with like being equal and balance. So pretty much it just means that because it means balance, it's just a balance of concentration. Because, as you know, matter can't be created or destroyed; it just takes different forms. So you with a chemical reaction, it wouldn't make sense for it to be able to create or destroy something, assuming that nothing is lost. So the following system is in equilibrium. The equilibrium will shift to the right if, okay. So according to Le Chatelier's principle, what he said was that if you add concentration or substance to the product, the equilibrium will shift to the right, and then it's pretty much vice versa. So the answer right here is the concentration of SF6 is increased. The graph shows data from an experiment which analyzed the relationship between temperature and air density. Was the independent variable in the experiment? So pretty much the independent variable is just something that, or it's the variable that is not affected by the by like the test itself. So right here, it's measuring temperature and density, but mass is actually, regardless of what happens to the density or temperature, it'll always stay the same. So the answer is mass, but then it could also be time, but that's like a different type of variable because it's constantly happening. It's naturally occurring. Hydrofluoric acid is used in the manufacture of electronics equipment. It reacts with calcium silicate, a component of glass, which type of property prevents hydrofluoric acid from being transported or stored in glass containers. So pretty much it can't be quantitative because that's the amount. Intensive um is like it's kind of hard to explain, but pretty much if it can't if it can't like be stored in a glass container, and it's not because of like quantity, then it pretty much has to be chemical. So then because it's the chemical property itself that's preventing it. So sodium hydroxide is a strong base found in products used to clear clogged plumbing. Was the percent composition of sodium hydroxide? So pretty much what you would do right here is you would divide the moles by each other. So you divide this by this, and then you would multiply by 100, and then This is kind of similar to the percent yield one. So then you would get 57.48